let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking one of the most incredible stories of resilience ever recorded. We're talking about Prophet Yusuf, or Joseph, and his absolute roller coaster of a transition from the bottom of a dark well to a royal palace. Let's see exactly how hitting rock bottom actually became the foundation for majesty.
So I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine the profound sensory deprivation of being trapped at the bottom of an abandoned well. The source material doesn't sugarcoat this at all. It paints a picture of absolute darkness, crushing isolation, and this very real, visceral fear of death. You're completely powerless. But, and this is a core theme we're going to see again and again, the text profoundly reminds us that whoever the divine wishes to save, literally no one can harm. That well, it wasn't a grave. It was really just a waiting room for destiny.
To make sense of it all, we can map out this physical and spiritual journey in three massive shifts. We start in the total isolation of the dark well, absolute despair. From there, we're thrown into the overwhelming chaos of the Egyptian market. And finally, we land in the royal palace, a place of sheer majesty. Every single location here was an absolutely crucial stepping stone in a much greater, unseen divine strategy.
And the way destiny orchestrates this is it's almost cinematic. Think about the timing. A wandering, thirsty caravan happens to be guided right to that one specific remote well in their desperate search for water. Expecting nothing more than a quick drink, they drop their bucket deep into the pitch-black darkness. With every single mechanical turn of that rope lowering the bucket, they were actually pulling Yusuf closer to his ultimate fate.
Imagine the sheer shock of that moment. You pull up this heavy wooden bucket, waiting to hear the splash of water, and instead, out comes this beautiful, innocent child literally holding on to the rope. The source quotes their absolute astonishment perfectly. "Oh, good news, this is a boy." Just like that, a desperate search for a basic resource turns into the discovery of a lifetime.
But humans will be humans, right? Look at their reaction compared to the bigger picture. Driven purely by worldly motives, the caravan immediately hides the boy to sell him as a slave. They're just seeing dollar signs, thinking about a quick profit. Yet, completely unaware, their greed is the exact vehicle divine destiny is using to transport Yusuf precisely where he needs to be.
Fast forward a bit as he's dragged into the bustling Egyptian market. The text points out this incredibly striking detail on Yusuf's face, a royal nur. Now, nur translates to divine light. It's this subtle, continuous spiritual glow reflecting absolute purity. And the takeaway here is huge. Despite being betrayed, thrown into a well, and sold into slavery, his internal state remained completely untarnished. The circumstances were terrible, but his spirit was totally unbroken.
I want you to really visualize the chaotic energy of that Egyptian market. It's loud, it's packed, merchants are shouting, people are pushing, and there's Yusuf, standing right there in the line of slaves. But notice how the text describes his vibe. He's radiating this otherworldly patience and dignity. No weeping, no begging, and it's exactly this quiet, towering composure in the middle of all that noise that acts like a magnet, instantly grabbing the attention of a very important passerby, the Aziz of Egypt.
And this brings us to a real game changer. The Aziz recognizes there is something undeniably special about this boy, buys him, and gives this powerful instruction to his wife, Zuleika. He says, "Keep this boy with honor. Perhaps he will be useful to us, or we might adopt him as a son." Wow! With just one sentence, everything shifts. He goes from being viewed as mere property to someone worthy of total respect and familial integration.
Talk about a 180. Look at the sheer distance traveled here, not just geographically, but socially and spiritually. We're talking about a boy who is quite literally standing on an auction block, who suddenly becomes a treasured, honored guest in a grand Egyptian palace. It really forces us to realize how rapidly the chapters of our own lives can turn when a greater plan is unfolding.
Now you might be thinking, great, he made it, happily after. But hold on. A palace isn't just about comfort, it brings a completely different kind of test. Our source beautifully weighs these two competing forces. On one side, you have the dazzling wealth, the vibrant colors, and the intense temptations of elite palace life. And on the other, Yusuf's internal focus, seeking the pleasure of his Lord through unwavering trust and pure devotion.
How does he navigate this wild new environment? It all comes down to one powerful concept: Tawakkul. That translates to an absolute trust in the divine. It means consciously choosing the unseen pleasure of the Creator over the very visible, super shiny, temporary glitz and glamour right in front of your face.
Where most people would have let that royal lifestyle completely corrupt them, Yusuf's tawakkul anchored him in profound serenity.
And as we know, actions have consequences. Because he consistently chose faith over the worldly glamour surrounding him, the text notes something amazing. That very palace, a place that could have so easily been his spiritual downfall, became the exact location where he was endowed with profound wisdom and deep knowledge. His physical environment was a palace, for sure, but his mental and spiritual environment was a masterclass in divine wisdom.
But come on, any student of history knows that peace in a palace is usually just the calm before the storm, right? The story doesn't just end here in peaceful luxury. Our source hints at these shadows slowly gathering in the corners of the royal court, forcing us to ask, what is actually waiting behind those grand walls? Palaces are full of politics, desires, and hidden agendas. New, incredibly difficult trials are brewing in the dark.
Which leaves us with this final, vital question to chew on until our next explainer. As the stakes escalate way past mere survival and venture into the highly dangerous territory of reputation, temptation, and power, will Yusuf's unyielding faith and that radiant inner purity actually be enough to protect him from the tempests ahead? It's a fascinating look at the endurance of the human spirit. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this story, and definitely keep questioning and exploring the depths of these timeless narratives.